Hello everyone, my name is Fu Winter, with a matric number 242017131. Today I'm honored to present my individual video assignment for the course QIM513, Foundation of Instructional Design and Technologies. Let me share my screen with you. Okay. The topic of my presentation is Cognitive Theory of Multimedia Learning, CTML, and its application in educational videos. I will systematically elaborate on the core content of CTML and its practical value in educational video design. I hope to receive your valuable feedback after the presentation. Okay, let's start. Before diving into the details, let's first review the overall structure of this presentation. It consists of 8 core modules, which are closely linked and progressive. First, we'll clarify the learning objectives to grasp the key goals of this report. Second, we'll understand the theories and the development background of CTML to lay a solid foundation. Third, we'll explore the core model of CTML, the cornerstone of this theory. Fourth, we'll analyze the 3 key assumptions of CTML, which are the logical starting point of the theory. Fifth, we'll learn the fundamentals of cognitive load theory, CLT, the theoretical basis of CTML. Sixth, we'll dive into the 12 multimedia learning principles. And seventh, we'll define educational videos and summarize their core features to clarify the application scenario. Finally, we'll focus on the practical application of CTML in educational videos, combining specific cases to demonstrate its value. Learning objectives is divided into knowledge objectives and competence objectives. For the knowledge objectives, there are 3 key points. First, to understand the CTML framework, key assumptions, and its connection with cognitive load theory. Second, to master the core connotations of the 12 multimedia learning principles. Third, to clarify the definition and design logic of educational videos. For the competence objectives, it is to apply the theoretical framework and principles of CTML to actual design and optimization of educational videos. Transforming theoretical knowledge into practical operational capabilities. Through this presentation, I hope not only to convey knowledge, but also to inspire everyone thinking about the integration of theory and practice. The second module is theories and development background. To thoroughly understand a theory, we must first know its originator and development context. The core theorist of CTML is Richard E. Meyer, a renowned educational psychologist at Stanford University and a key advocate and promoter of CTML. For decades, Professor Meyer has been committed to researching the cognitive mechanisms of multimedia learning. Through a large number of experimental studies and theoretical summaries, he has made pioneering contributions to the establishment and development of CTML, making it one of the most influential theories in the field of instructional design. Regarding the theoretical development and positioning, Professor Meyer's core work, Multimedia Learning, is a milestone in the field of multimedia education. This book systematically combs the research results of CTML, establishes a classical framework that connects cognitive science with multimedia teaching practice, and provides a scientific theoretical guide for the design and development of multimedia teaching resources worldwide. At the same time, CTML is not an isolated theory. It integrates the core viewpoints of the multiple related theories, such as Pie-Wheel dual coding theory and Sweller cognitive load theory. These theoretical foundations enable CTML to comprehensively and deeply explain the cognitive process of learners in multimedia environments, enhancing the scientificity and the applicability of the theory. Okay, let's move on the third module. The third section is the core model of CTML, which is a core framework for understanding the entire theory. First, let's look at the core logic of the model. The cognitive processing path of CTML model consists of three stages, from text and image to meaningful learning, namely selection, organization, and integration. Learners first select relevant information, then organize the information to form a knowledge structure, and finally integrate the new knowledge with the old knowledge. The visualization of the model is reflected in the dual-channel processing diagram on the screen. This diagram intuitively shows the parallel interaction process between the visual spatial channel and the verb audio channel. In the multimedia learning, the visual spatial channel is mainly responsible for processing spatial information, such as images, animations, and graphics, which is received through the visual signs. The verbal audio channel is mainly responsible for processing verbal information, such as text, narrations, and dialogue, which is received through the auditory sense. These two channels work independently and concurrently, processing different types of information at the same time, which greatly improves the efficiency of information processing and lays the foundation for the advantages for multimedia learning. The practical significance of the model is crucial. It reveals the intrinsic cognitive mechanism of multimedia learning. It enables us to understand the cognitive process of learners in a multimedia environment, providing a theoretical basis for the design of educational videos and other multimedia learning resources. The fourth section is the key assumptions of CTML, which are the premise and foundation of the entire theoretical system. It consists of three core assumptions. The first is a dual-channel assumption. Humans process information through two independent channels, visual, spatial, and verb audio. In multimedia learning, the audio channel hypothesis persists the existence of separate visual, spatial, and verb audio processing channels. The visual spatial channel is responsible for processing spatial information, such as images and graphics, while the verb audio channel handles verb information, such as text and explanations. These two channels work concurrently. The second assumption is limited capacity assumption, which means the processing capacity of working memory is limited in both channels. According to the capacity limitation hypothesis, the processing capacity of working memory in the visual, spatial, and verbal auditory channels is limited. When the information provided by the learning materials exceeds the processing limit of the channels, it will lead to excessive cognitive load and affect the learning outcome. The third is the active processing assumption. Meaningful learning cannot be achieved passively. It requires learners to actively participate in this selection, organization, and integration of information. Learners are not passive containers for knowledge, but active constructors of knowledge. Only by actively identifying key information from multimedia materials, organizing it into a logical structure, and integrating it with existing knowledge, can they truly understand and master the content rather than just memorizing it superficially. This assumption emphasizes that in educational video design, we need to add interactive elements or guiding cues to stimulate learners' active participation, such as setting thinking questions or highlighting key information to promote meaningful learning. Alright, we've covered CTML's framework, founder, and core assumptions. Now let's dive into its theoretical backbone, cognitive load theory, CLT, developed by Australian psychologist John Sweller. The core idea is super straightforward. Our working memory is like a phone's RAM, not unlimited. It can only handle 4 to 5 chunks of information at a time. There are 3 types of cognitive load, and I'll explain them in plain terms. First, intrinsic cognitive load is an inherent difficulty of the content itself. For example, learning quantum mechanics is definitely harder than memorizing words. It's built in. Second, extraneous load, cognitive load. This is pure trouble caused by poor design, like a PowerPoint framed with text and facing animations that only distract. Third, German cognitive load. This is a good one. It's a process of digesting new knowledge and turning it into our own skills. Our goal is making educational videos is simple. Manage intrinsic load, cut extraneous load, and boost German load. That way, learning is effortless and effectiveness. And CTML is closely linked to this theory. CTML is built on the foundation of cognitive load theory. Its core purpose is to optimize the ratio of these 3 types of load, letting each do its job, and ultimately doubling the effectiveness of multimedia learning. Now that we understand the theoretical foundation, let's move to the most practical part, the 12 multimedia learning principles. These 12 principles aren't made up. They are a design Bible summarized by Professor Mayer through countless experiments. Let's group them to make them easier to remember and apply. First, the 6 basic principles, they are the bottom line requirements for design. The first principle is multimedia principle. Words plus picture word far better than words alone or picture alone. For example, in explaining photosynthesis, don't just read the text. Highlight it with a leaf structure animation. Using both channels together makes memory more profound. The second principle is coherence principle. Cut out all irrelevant stuff, unnecessary background music, decorative icons or off-topic jokes are all weight that only increases extraneous cognitive load. The third principle is redundancy principle. Don't repeat if you've said something in the narration. Don't put the exact same text on the screen. It's a total waste of brain capacity. This is redundancy principle. Next is sequentially principle. Mark the key points. Use an arrow, highlight, or emphasize verbally. This is crucial to help learners quickly grasp the core without sifting through piles of information. The fifth principle is spatial contiguity principle. Related text and pictures should be placed close together. For example, when labeling cell structures, write the names directly on the image, not far away, forcing everyone to glance back and forth. Next, temporal contiguity principle. Text should appear simultaneously with corresponding pictures or animations. Don't finish a long explanation first and then play the animation. Information gets disconnected and the brain has to work hard to match them. Next, the six advanced principles. They can take your design to the next level. The seventh principle is segmenting principle. Split long videos into chunks. Break 15-minute content into 2 to 3 minute clips. Letting learners control the pace. It fits the limits of working memory and gives them time to digest. Next, modality principle. Is animation with narration is better than animation with long text. Distribute information between the visual and auditory channels. Don't make one channel overwork. The ninth principle is pre-training principle. Teach basic concepts first. For example, before talking about CTML applications, spend 1 minute recapping the 3 core assumptions. With a foundation, learners will find complex content much easier. And then, personalization principle. Speak like you are chatting. Avoid stiff academic jargon. Say, let's break this down. Instead of we will analyze this construct. It's much friendlier and keeps learners more engaged. The 11th principle is voice principle. Use a natural human voice. Narration with a standard accent is far easier to understand than robotic or unusual accents, reducing the burden of language comprehension. And the last principle is image principle. No need to force the speaker's avatar unless building an emotion connection. A static avatar will only distract and add later to learning effectiveness. Okay, let's move on to the seventh part. We've covered the principles. Let's first clarify what exactly is an educational videos. Simply put, it's a structured teaching tool that combines languages with visuals. Its core purpose is to convey knowledge and help learning. Micro lectures and short educational videos all fall into this category. It has 3 core features that align perfect with CTML's logic. First, strong purpose. All elements serve clear learning objectives. No gimmicks. Second, multimodal integration. Language and visual elements work together, engaging both cognitive channels. And third, segmentation. Content is slipped into small chunks, fitting the limited capacity of working memory and avoiding information overload. Finally, let's put the theory into practice. How to apply CTML in educational videos. Do it in 3 stages, each closely following the 12 principles. Stage 1. Pre-production design. First, break down learning objectives, structure the content, then plan multimodal elements, like where to use animation, where to add narration, and where to place text. Lay out the framework in advance. And stage 2, mid-production optimization. Adjust the matching of audio, video, and text according to the 12 principles. For example, layout based on the spatial contiguity principle. Delete redundant text based on the redundancy principle. Stage 3, post-production iteration. Conduct a simple cognitive load assessment, like having a few people test the video, asking where it feels confusing or hard to remember. Then optimize redundant information and strengthen key makers. Okay, let me share a real case. In a 3-minute native language grammar video teaches subject, verb, object structures. Following CTML, it pairs sentence text with animations like Mom buys apples, like this picture, and uses conversational narration to lower beginners' comprehension threshold. After optimization, beginners' mastery accuracy rose from 61% to 89%. And 79% found learning more interesting. That's CTML's magic, balancing effectiveness and experience. Okay, so much for this. That's all for my presentation. Looking back, we systematically reviewed the theoretical system of CTML, from the theorist and core model to key assumptions and the 12 principles, and explored its practical application in educational videos through specific cases. CTML provides a scientific cognitive adaptation design framework for educational videos, emphasizing that multimedia design should conform to learners' cognitive loads to balance multimodal presentation and cognitive load. I hope this presentation can help everyone better understand and apply CTML. Finally, thank you all for your attention listening. If you have any questions, suggestions, or in-depth discussions, please feel free to raise them. Thank you.